by Carmelo Anthony?
Yeah. My heart goes out to the family. They trying to make this a race issue, and this is a right or wrong issue.
Okay. So no, real quick, I like where you're going on this because I'm not even trying to race bait.
Welcome to Pegasus versus the World, where we take on challenges, comedy, trending topics, and some travel. City boy. All right, man. This happened while I was in Hawaii. If y'all don't know, I just got back from Hawaii on vacation. This is literally my first day back recording. And I said, if this subject matter is still going on and people are still discussing this, when I get back, it's going to be one of the first things I tackle. And I had to actually escape from this story because it's so horrendous. And then the trend that I've seen as I've gotten back, where it's escalating to, it's so horrendous that I literally had to just be like, I can't even be on my phone like that, because while I'm in paradise on vacation, trying to reset, trying to course correct, trying to get my zen, get my peace, and I'm seeing stuff like this. So I had to separate from it. I've been back a day. I dived back into it, and where I've seen this gone is horrific. I've seen people organizing funds for someone who killed someone, as if, there's this narrative going on that this kid was a bully, right? This kid, the picture of Metcalf up here. Actually, before we get started, we're gonna dive into this, you guys. I just couldn't believe I saw a GoFundMe that raised, I think at this point, $300,000 for the kid who took this kid's life. That's unbelievable. It was unbelievable to me. But then I also started seeing the culture shift during the OJ Simpson. People wanted OJ to be free, even though it's like everything leads to yo, he did this. They might not have found this, that, or the other, but it kind of led to yo, OJ did that. And people were just so happy that he got off. Again, this is after, Rodney King. And so there's this hive mind of people who want get back. Get back is the street term for retribution, or, retribution's the best word for it. Revenge. But revenge is mine, thus saith the Lord. So I don't know. I'm glad I disconnected from this on my vacation, because we're about to dive into this. This is a clip I seen going around. I saw just a part of it. This is a 7-minute video, and I've only seen a 40-second clip of Charleston White going ham on this subject matter. So I figured this be the best way to get into it, because as of now, the majority of people know the case and what happened. So this is on, I think, either the Blaze channel or Alex, what's his name? Alex Primetime with Alex Stein or something like that. He goes around. He's entertaining, to say the least. So that's on this channel. If you want to go check it out, it's online. I'll try to link it in the description, but if not, it's literally on Primetime with Alex Stein's channel. Okay. If you want to support me, I'm Black Pegasus. You can like, share, comment, subscribe, or check the description for my other channels. But let's get into this, because it's very disturbing what happened. And there's a lot of things starting to unfold. But the biggest thing I saw unfold was yesterday when I watched something. They have footage of what happened, and I do think the truth will be brought to light. And all of the people who are in support of a murder, I hope they respond in the sense of, admitting they were wrong. Because I think that video footage is going to come out, and it's going to show the guilt, and that is going to lead to a whole nother thing. It's going to be, this is going to be a unique time. Anyways, we'll get into it. There's so much on my mind, because there's just so many areas this goes in. Let's get them talking, and we'll get after it.
Yeah, my heart goes out to the family. They trying to make this a race issue, and this is a right or wrong issue.
Okay. So no, real quick, I like where you're going on this, because I'm not even trying to race bait or anything. People are making this about black and white. You see that they're trying to make this kind of like a Trayvon Martin kind of, they're talking about it, but where do you...
It is. Trayvon Martin was an angry black kid that had to be sent to his father because he lacked discipline, grew up in a home with his single mother. Any well-behaved kid with manners that had respect of adults, once George Zimmerman approached him, whether he's right or wrong, as a child, this is an adult. You get off the phone with that fat-ass girlfriend you trying to fuck, you call your dad and say, hey, Dad, it's an adult around here to just stop me. He says he's calling the police. Rather than doing that, he had an attitude because as young black males in this country, we have an authority problem because we're walking around angry, displaced from our father's issues, but we resent our mothers.
That's true.
So we're a ticking time bomb. And Trayvon Martin could fight. So that's why I say you be careful approaching some of these young kids. What a 13-year-old will kick a 40-year-old's ass.
That's true.
And that's what happened in that situation. He underestimated this kid, and he was looking for trouble. But by law, he was right. And he was judged by his peers. So we can't say nothing once you're judged by your peers.
Well, he brings up an interesting point there about the whole Trayvon Martin thing. You know, it's unfortunately we don't have video footage of what really happened there, because it's like Zimmerman. I'm like, dude, it's a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just seems wild. But what he's saying, I was raised different, y'all. Like, if a grown ass man is like yelling at me, telling me something, I'm like, you know, you're just like, oh, my bad. Like, you immediately respect your elders, and then you go tell your parents. And your dad goes and handles the drama like, yo, what were you saying to my son? Like, why were you doing this? You know what I'm saying? Especially if you got daughters too. Like, if someone's talking to your daughter reckless, they're not supposed to square up. They're supposed to call the parents or the authorities immediately, right? Because you don't really have that type of power, like just being a young kid. And that he's actually making a really good point. I never saw it from that angle before, but that's just real. Like, if we're just keeping it real, I was never taught to, like, I would never square up on an adult as a kid, ever, because I knew I would never square up on my parents, ever. No matter how mad I got, even when I got to, like, maybe I could take my parents, my natural inclination was I could never take my parents, meaning, like, beat them in a fight. Like, it didn't matter. Like, that's just how I was programmed since a kid. Like, it's impossible to beat your parents. So don't ever try it, and don't get wavy with your parents. Respect them. And we got our butts beat when we were young. You know what I'm saying? So that was just... So when he says that, law, this is how you do it, I'm like, you know what he's saying? He's making a great point, because that's how I was raised. I never raised my voice to, like, adults, like, crazily, and all this stuff you see these young kids in school just screaming at their teachers, punching their teachers. Never. I would go home, and it would be the end of my world if I did some of the stuff the youth is doing currently. So he makes a valid point. I didn't even think of it in that direction.
What do you think's going to happen in this Austin Metcalf thing? You think he's
Metcalf had to go. Well, no, that boy going to jail.
Carmelo Anthony's going to go to jail.
Carmelo going to jail because listen, you cannot bring a weapon to school.
Yeah.
So you can't say I was
What if he says self-defense?
There's no self-defense, because if you are afraid the day before, where you have to take a weapon to school, why not notify your parents?
Facts.
Parents, you notify the school teacher. School teacher that's bringing these kids in here and resolve this issue is called conflict resolution. We was taught in homes that has morals and values, you tell the teacher. Somebody fucking with you, you tell the teacher. Let the teachers know, so when y'all have an altercation, you're cleared and you're covered. Documentation beats conversation. So words of documentation just say this is self-defense. It's a premeditated crime because you took a weapon in fear. Anticipating to use it.
That was premeditated, though.
And it's at a track meet. You getting ready to run track with other kids and you got a knife on you. No, man, you got to go to jail. You got to go. So when is it all right to kill the bully? I don't give a fuck what the bully did. He don't have a right to die.
No.
I mean, and this is what we're talking about in society. Like, people are like, you know, they're all against vigilante justice and all this stuff. But in this case, I'm just seeing this crazy, and maybe it's because I'm in the black community, but I'm seeing this crazy outcry on Facebook specifically, all these people in support of this kid, Karmelo Anthony, who committed this crime. And I argue exactly what he's arguing. When, like, they were saying, oh, this kid's been bullying him for months, or him and his brother, the twin, they've been bullying him, which I'm like, where did you get this info? Are you just pushing more fake news that social media is so good at? Anyways, even if they were bullies, bro, you took another person's life. You know, and in this story, there wasn't, oh, I was on the ground getting jumped. All these people, he was getting jumped or he was going to get jumped. You saw the mugshot? The dude has the perfect complexion, looks like a Noxema model, the kid who committed the crime. I'm like, what are people talking about? How is there, like, and then I get kind of overwhelmed and anxious because I can't believe I see all these people online. I'm like, please be bots. This can't be real. Where we're starting to think of, because of the color of a skin, it's okay to take someone else's life for bullying, whatever. Like, it's just insane to me. It's insane. And the other thing is, anyways, well, let's listen to what they're saying. I'm going to get through this whole clip. I got my own ideas. I'll tell you this much. If I was the father of Karmelo Anthony, the boy who committed the crime, I wouldn't only be devastated, I would have went on national news and probably poured my heart out crying for the other family who lost their child, who shouldn't have lost their child. I would have absolutely asked for forgiveness. I would have been like, I can't believe, I would have been like, my son was not raised this way. I am so sorry. I would, you know, obviously you're going to always love your kids. Blood is thicker than water, but I would be so disappointed in him. I wouldn't know what to say. I'd be in disbelief. I would be so torn. But my first inclination, if I'm just being real in this situation, being a father, I would be wrecked for the other family, wrecked because their son is no longer here. My son's still here. I can go to the jail and see him. I can go do this, that, and the other. And if it really went down the way I think it went down, because, you know, again, no video footage has leaked or anything. I mean, the Karmelo Anthony kid is absolutely in the wrong 100%. And there's not much that could get me off that. They're trying to make these Kyle Rittenhouse comparisons, all this weird stuff, and it's not even the same, remotely the same of what happened in this instance. But again, I believe the video footage will come out eventually, and people are going to see the truth. So I don't know. It's really sad, though. This thing broke my heart, and that's why I put my phone down in Hawaii. I was like, no more of this. I can't take none of this while I'm on vacation.
Man, you weak man. That's why I say, teach the kids how to deal with bullies, and this won't happen. We're all not equal. Even in nature, you can be feeding a flock of birds. There's going to always be one bird to come in and take the food from the. This is nature. Yeah. You cannot get rid of bullies. Teach the kids how to deal with them. Bullies build character. You go to work, it's going to be a bully supervisor, a bully co-worker. You cannot get rid of the bully. Teach our children conflict resolution. Everything don't have to end in violence.
Conflict resolution and de-escalation. Conflict resolution, preach, and de-escalation. Everything don't have to go crazy, you know. And the story is that the Metcalf boy pushed him. And the kid said, oh, put your hands on me and see what happens, something to that degree. And he allegedly pushed him, and then he shanked him. And I'm like, that's just crazy. Like, that is just insane. I can't believe people think it's okay that this dude had a knife in the bag at school. It's just crazy. It's crazy. It's just being wrong is wrong, and this is just incredibly. It's scary. It's scary if I'm being honest, because this is tearing apart the fabric of America by the seams. I believe most people get it in the sense of most of us are like, yo, that's a crime committed, consequences are coming, right? But there is this outcrying of people who are just like, delusional. This is what we're dealing with in America today and Europe. Delusion.
But when you come from the black culture, everything is disputed in violence.
Yeah. That is the problem, though. That's how
it's the culture.
That's the culture. Is that's how they solve when you have a serious issue. They don't even contemplate trying to talk it out.
We teach a no snitching rule, right? So our kids are walking around with these mafia rules, codes, and ethics of the streets that's held over children about no snitching. So now I have to take a weapon because I don't want to be a snitch and kill another kid. Oh, it's a simple solution. Don't tell the teacher. Tell your parents.
Yeah.
It's a simple solution.
I know, but
tell, motherfucker, tell.
But what sounds crazy, I know it sounds so easy, but the thing is, even for the criminal, the guy that would commit an assault, if you stop him before he does the assault, then they don't have to go to jail as long. You know what I mean?
Man, this is not that kid's first time grabbing a weapon, because most kids who grab a weapon from the first time don't kill people.
Yeah, of course. You bring a gun a couple times before you shoot it.
And if I was being bullied and I'm in self-defense, even though he have an undeveloped brain and he's impulsive, why run?
I don't know.
Why get rid of the knife? You're showing criminal intent. Why throw the knife away where they can't find it? He wasn't found with the knife in his pocket. He wasn't sitting down with the knife in his hand, ready to explain what happened.
Yeah. So, but do you think that he had some sort of predisposition to wanting to murder? Is that what you're saying? Is that
No. Children don't wake up to kill because they don't have the brain capacity, the brain development to say, I want somebody dead. Children are impulsive.
Yep.
This was a tragic incident where a kid who don't have emotional intelligence acted impulsively because he comes from a culture that promotes, propagates violence. Mm-hmm. Every day, all day, kill, kill, die, nigga, shoot, kill, kill.
Bro, he's spitting facts. I'm actually getting goosebumps. I'm going to tell you guys a quick story that just happened in Hawaii. And it's about, being the closeness you have to have with your children and correct things when they happen. Okay? In Hawaii, we have some really good friends out there. My daughter's best friend, they were swimming together. Her best friend cannot swim. So her best friend wears floaties. Well, my daughter, I don't know if she thought it was funny or she was just being impulsive. Like he's saying, kids are impulsive. That's why you have to correct them so much to help guide them to get to the target of being a good human being. Well, and I'm very disappointed in this, super disappointed. But the truth is it happened. My daughter decided to get on her best friend who she loves. They love each other. Get on her shoulders and push her down in the water. Immediately, I saw it. Actually, I didn't see it. Her friend was crying like, she said my daughter's name, pushed me under the water. And obvious, my daughter let her back up. She's in floaties. It's all good. But as a parent with foresight, I know there could be a time where her friend doesn't have floaties. And that could actually turn into something that it wasn't supposed to, because sometimes children are impulsive or do silly things and don't understand the consequences. Why it's so important for us to teach them that every action has a consequences, even little mistakes. She said, it was just a mistake, Dad. I'm so sorry. I was like, you're done. No more pool for the rest of the day. And we had just gotten started. There's no more pool for the rest of the day. And she melted down. She was so upset. But the lesson had to be the consequence for your action was no more pool. And it was innocent, and it seemed like they were just playing, and she just went overboard. But she has to understand, even going overboard in a certain moment can turn to something tragic. And maybe I went a little far with it, but that's how I always think. She has to understand consequences, because some people will think, oh, I'm just going to sleep with this person tonight. Oh, I made a mistake. Well, the consequence of that is having to raise a child for the rest of your life. Or potentially, right? So the littlest mistake could change your life forever. And if children don't understand that from an early age, this is the type of stuff that happens. And he is spitting some really valid points. And this is probably the first time I've agreed with Charleston White 100% on everything he's saying. I'm just kind of like in awe that he's spitting it so cleanly.
You can't take this in and you lack training. You lack morals. You have to have a foundation of a value system to listen to this type of shit all day long, and you don't have no emotional intelligence where you've been taught to say, man, when you get angry, think.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath. So he was anticipating this to happen. That's why he had the knife, and we had this outcome. He didn't want to kill nobody.
I don't think he wanted to kill anybody. He almost kind of manifested it, though, just by his culture, him around it, having the knife. But accidentally.
I got a nephew that goes to school out there.
Mm-hmm. At Frisco?
Yeah, and not to paint this kid in a bad image, this is why I used to tell my son, because I got a house full of guns. Mm-hmm. And I saw my son on Instagram one time with a blunt in his mouth. He was 14 years old with my guns. I told him I better not ever see you, because I'm trying to prepare this kid to go to the military. Yeah. You don't, man, take that shit down, because that imagery, you can't take it back. So here he is. He got a video. He got a photograph, whether it's a real gun or not. That image is gonna destroy him in court.
It is. They're gonna.
You better not go to Collin County, where it's a predominantly white area, where these law-abiding, upstanding citizens have a heart for this white kid who was killed with a twin brother, a mother and a father. Their pictures with guns show a hunting image. His pictures show a gangster image, gang sign. And you guys want to play the race card in Collin County? Chill out, black people. Let's make this about right or wrong, because you don't want to go to Collin County playing race. You'll lose.
Bro, he was spitting. I got goosebumps from what he's spitting. He's absolutely right. You know, there's all these Facebook posts, and Facebook is the king of fake news. Like, so we'll see how all this stuff comes out. They said he was a 4.0 student, no criminal record, honor student, all these different things. I'm talking about the suspect or the perpetrator of this crime, and I'm just like, it's interesting because if someone is all of those things, they don't typically act in the way like, oh, I'm bringing a knife to school and pulling it out of a bag. Like, you just don't, that doesn't seem like behaviors from a 4.0 student. But as he was breaking it down, when you become a product of your environment, right? And even though he might, and we're talking about Karmelo Anthony, even though he might be in a 2-parent household with, middle class, I don't know his situation, but let's just say it's the best situation. You also have these, the culture influencing you at a very young age. I have experienced this firsthand. Both of my parents were in the household, you guys. They stayed married till my mom passed away of cancer, 30 plus years. Okay. Great parents, hardcore Christian, strict. We got spanked, gave us good moral foundations. But when my mom had to go back into the workforce because we didn't really have money like that, MTV and gangster rap raised me, and it influenced me heavily. I did shit. It didn't even make sense, the stuff I was doing. And I was just doing it because I was trying to be cool and fit in with my friends because they were doing it. And I didn't want to be the odd man out. So I would just do this with them. And some of the things that I did, I regret to this day. Some of the biggest mistakes. And they could have like, there were many times I was this far away from death and even this far away from jail for a very long time. And I understand what the impact and the influence of culture has on people firsthand because I lived that, right? And the issue with me, I think, being mixed race, and no woe is me, I'm biracial, like no victim Olympics for me. But it was hard to fit in, right? Now, to my white homies, I'm black. To my black homies, I'm not really black enough. So I was always trying to go harder than everyone else to fit in, right? And a lot of this came because I got out of sports. When I got out of martial arts, because my parents couldn't afford to keep me in martial arts, then I started doing sports in school, got in a little trouble with my grades, and my parents wouldn't allow me to play sports, even though I was eligible to play. That's when I went down that path, and I went hard in the paint. And so I understand the impact of influence from culture, whether it be music, entertainment. You see the one NBA star, he's doing the gun sign and stuff, and he's getting fined for doing that. In the culture of rap, hip hop, we gravitate to this stuff. We do. I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I put on old Mobb Deep records and Biggie. I'm in my car by myself. I'm like, ooh, it just makes me want to drive fast. And I start listening to the lyrics. I'm like, wow, this is really actually evil. This is evil. This is actually legit evil lyrics, but it sounds like, I always say this one. Biggie has a lyric. I think it's in Hypnotized. And unless you're really paying attention, he says, your daughter's tied up in a Brooklyn basement. Face it, not guilty. That's how I stay filthy, richer than rich, and so on and so on. He is alluding to what, you know what he's alluding to? I'm trying to dodge the word for Facebook, but, kid, napping. That's what he's alluding to. And maybe I don't, did I just say Facebook instead of YouTube? YouTube has weird guidelines. I'm trying to not get these videos age restricted. Anyways, this is a tough conversation to have, but it's a needed conversation, especially in American society. And, we got to, these kids need our help, man. They need some guidance, y'all. This is a big reflection on the parents too, man. Like, this is a big reflection on the parents. And I hate to say that because I feel like my parents were in the workforce doing all they could to have the proper environment for me, and just the rap music that they didn't want me to listen to, but I listened to anyways, and the things they didn't want me to watch, but I watched anyway, it sunk in enough to have a big impact on me. And, you know, I've been paying the price for some of those things, you know, whether it be addiction to things you shouldn't be watching. You guys know what I'm talking about, to just, you know, different things like rising above all this different stuff. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. This is a crazy one. Unbelievable it even happened, but I'll holla at y'all.
City boy, city boy.